All right. So here we are again. Another session. This is for, again, community open session for real time. And this is February 19th. So we've got a couple plans today for what we're going to try to do. I'm hoping Eric will join us shortly and we can get rolling on some ideas on a couple different, I have 3 different things that we want to cover. One of them is a topic about AI. The other one, again, keep talking about metahuman clothing, never actually doing it. So that's still on the list of things to do. And the third one is related to blueprint interfaces and blueprint. Well, I don't know. We're not really going to get into it, but like triggering different types of blueprint functions in different contexts and the struggles that I'm having on that front. So those are the different topics in my mind. We'll also see if anybody else decides to come into print on us and has any other types of questions they want to bring on to the session with us. So those are the things that we got going on. So while I wait for Eric or whoever else is going to jump into my session here, I think the first thing I'm going to talk about is this interface thing, because it's the most prevalent in my mind of what I'm trying to struggle with. And I've been trying to get some help. Victor was one of my students who was here last week, was also trying to help troubleshoot some of these issues with me. And it's funny because last week I had proclaimed that I was fully understand how to use interfaces, and because I always kind of knew the concept and the principle of how it would work, but I've never actually done it in practice. And if you see some of the other the ways that some of the new templates are working for Unreal 5, they actually do integrate the proper workflows, is where they send data across from different specifically the weapon pickup. In fact, maybe that's a good place to start, is we'll get into what the interface is like. Let me do a little post here for the channel, so that we can have some sort of basis of why we're talking about this before I dive too deep into it. So I'm going to create a new project, and we're going to get into the I was using first person. That's probably, we're going to keep with first person because I want to make sure that actually works. I'm going to change the variant to all, but really what I'm looking for is the area shooter, I guess. I'm going to do all of them just in case I happen to made some assumptions about things that exist. So I'm going to make another folder here for today's session. And we're going to call this one first person template. So that at least I have a project. And then what I can do is, if I want to, I can take some of these elements and migrate them out and put them into the test, which is one of the things I would actually like to try, but as one of the other ideas. I don't know if I'm going to grind on this too much in terms of subject, but I'll definitely cover the question and what we want to do to be able to make this work. Oh, Aliana coming in here. Make sure I switch my settings. Oh, you already are here. Very good. Hey, welcome. Let me go back to my chat mode here. I already have my settings open, so everybody can jump in, which is good. Sorry, now I'm moving windows around. Let's try to minimize the amount of junk I have here. Aliana, if you have anything you want to join and to contribute or ask, or oh, we got Stan here as well. Welcome.
Hello, Simon. How are you doing?
Oh, hello. Everybody's coming in now. Actually, I'm really glad that you're here. I have an interesting question about interfaces in Unreal. Do you happen to have any experience in that area?
A little at least. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. My microphone's acting out. I've used them. You can try.
Have you used them in C++ or in Blueprints?
Both.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you used them in terms of, have you constructed them from scratch or just worked with them in a project?
Mostly just implementing existing ones, but I think at some points I did make one, but that's not recent. I think that's shouldn't be. I don't know.
Okay. I'm just trying to get a sense of where you're at. So I'm not going to put you on the spot to try to figure this out for me, but I do want you to pay attention and see if you can spot where the issues are. So anyways, the struggle I'm having is I can't get the interface to communicate from one blueprint to another blueprint. And I guess that's sort of the intention of what it's for, right? You want to be able to use an interface to be able to hold data between two interfaces. Am I right?
Well, it's most like, yeah, well, the way I always see it, I guess, it's like you don't really know what you're talking to, but you're talking to an interface. So it has, it has certain things. You can count on the fact that it implements certain things.
So what I understand is it's designed to remove the need to be able to cast to things. You don't have to cast to one object to another. You can just be able to send data across and it's consistent. That makes sense to me in my head. I wish I could be able to practice that in the actual context so that I could be able to say, oh, this is how it works or this isn't how it works. What I'm going to do here, first of all, is just show the example of where it's being utilized in a different level. So first I got to open up the map. And so in this shooter example, you pick up weapons. It knows that you've picked up this type of weapon. And so when you shoot it, you have that particular type of weapon of I don't know, inputs, hand poses, animation sequences, that kind of stuff. So I go into the blueprint of the, well, it would be the character shooter, but it also is the pickups here. So if I pick up the shooter weapon base, oh no, sorry, the blueprint shooter pickup, which is this thing. It's a, I think it's actually possibly the child. Anyway, you go to the class settings and interfaces. Oh, there's no interfaces in here. Let me, this is the BPI. So the BPI interface pickups. So we have a function for add weapon. And we have two different function inputs for data that's being stored.
Well, the inputs, I guess that's being stored, but they're like a function. So that's what you're passing in to the function. So you're calling the pickup, or what was it? Add, you're calling a function add weapon, and you need to give it two things, which are the inputs.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and if I switch this to, oh yeah, because I don't know how that works. Wait, oh, if I double click on it or something, I mean, that's what, yeah, there it is. You can see you don't get to, it's a read-only interface. You don't get to modify the values, but it stores, or at least it sends data. When you call this function, it's going to send this particular type of input over to another source, from what I understand. You're welcome to correct me when I'm wrong, by the way.
I think you're because you're saying this other source. I think that's maybe a bit confused. I guess you're really seeing it as a way to communicate the two interfaces, but it's just like because this is read-only, because this is the interface itself. An interface is just a description of functions. Someone has to implement it. So someone has implemented this BPI pickups. I don't know who. Maybe the character has done that. But
the character.
The interface is just an empty thing which just says, I have these functions, and someone needs to implement those. So I guess it would make sense that the character has that, maybe.
the character definitely has BPI pickups, weapon holder, touch shooter. So
Yeah,
weapon
he
holder,
implements those. Yeah.
yeah. So these all are coming in, and they're providing this list of different elements. So for example, we go back here, we've got add weapon. Add weapon is one of these. So they exist in here.
Yeah.
I could probably find the references to it. So this one is an event from it. So when it gets modified, this event activates and it sends through the data into whatever is local in that blueprint. So add pitch to the character pitch. Now, who is on the other end of what's modifying this data? I haven't quite figured that out yet, but let's go do some more deep dives here. If we're gonna tell if we got add weapon recoil, add weapon activated, so it's got to be like.
But the character is implementing the add weapon. So someone is giving the character a weapon. So I'm guessing if you touch the pickup, you are given the weapon. So I'm guessing the pickup thing is the one that's calling. What it's going to do, so the character overlaps probably with the pickup. Then the pickup is checking, does the character implement this interface? If it does, I can give it the weapon. And it will say add weapon. You don't have, because I guess the interface, you're saying it avoids casting, but you will have to do you have to check if it's implementing the interface. Instead of doing the cast, you say, does it implement it? Okay, then I can call add weapon on it.
Yeah, there's a missing gap here in my knowledge, in my understanding. Like, I know that you're right. In terms of this is the object, if you set it up so that it has the right weapon type, you can say, I want it to be this type of weapon. That blueprint now, if the player walks over it, is going to, current camera location, is going to pick up that weapon when they walk over it. So then I have that weapon. So there is that element of communication happening where this, I mean, I guess in theory, it could all happen from the character blueprint, couldn't it? Potentially. I don't know.
The other way around, I guess the character could do a check like, okay, I just collided with this pickup, and then it could ask the pickup, oh, you're this kind of pickup, so I add that to myself. But now it's the other way around. It's the pickup who's actively giving the character the weapon.
Let's do add weapon class, find references. So it only calls it once as a receive again. So wish I knew where the other.
Who's calling the add weapon? Who's actually doing the?
Yeah, weapon class. Or do you think that it might just be somewhere else?
I think what we're actually looking for is, I think, is there's going to be a function, a block somewhere in Blueprint that says or is implementing interface, and then that's BPI pickups or something. So there's a note that says is implementing, or I don't know what the exact one is. I can actually look it up. I had a real open.
I have. Yeah, I kind of fell.
Does object implement interface, or does class implement interface? Either one of those. Someone has to. I'm guessing it's the pickup. The pickup is doing the add weapon. So.
I never thought about the fact that there's, well, no, it doesn't matter. I can't find some of the functions here. I wanted to do add weapon class, and I'm like, okay, add weapon class. Which one is it? And it's like, no. So, Oh, wait. Oh, we got to scroll down. Here it is. Oh, there. Okay. Found it. So BPI weapon holder, add weapon class. There's the class value that's getting added from what I would have expected from the blueprint holder. But like, how does it know to talk to that particular thing? If you overlap this device, wait, let me just make sure it's the right one. Oh, no, it's not. No. There it is, this one.
Yeah.
So this has no interface in it, but when you overlap, you add the weapon class to a BPI weapon holder. Oh my gosh, there it is. So it doesn't require the interface to be added to be able to change this value. But how does it know? Do they all just exist?
Yeah, I think you're still looking at it the wrong way, though.
Yeah, I know. I haven't figured out how to look at it differently.
So the thing is, I guess you are implementing the Simon Warwick interface. You are implementing it. And if I run into you, I will be like, is this guy implementing the Simon Warwick interface? And you say, yes, I do. I implement this interface. Which then means I can call some of these functions that are in the interface. That makes sense. I'm just checking if you're implementing the interface. And if you implement the interface, that means I can call these functions that are in the interface.
Yes.
And someone else might also implement the same interface, but do different things. So there might be a fake Simon Warwick who is also implementing the same interface as you are, and it just has different responses. So I could also talk to the fake Simon Warwick, and he would also give responses because he also implements the same interface, but in a different way because he's a fake.
So are you saying it's possible that there's multiple interfaces, multiple instances of BPIs?
Well, I guess so. Again, an interface is just a list of functions. They don't do anything. The interface is just describing them. It's saying,
okay.
I guess the same thing, like in programming school, it's always the same thing. I like a vehicle, for example.
Okay.
So you have an interface which is a vehicle, and you can say you have a car, you have a plane, you have a boat, and they can all implement the same interface. So they're all vehicles. So all of these vehicles have a gas pedal, basically. So if I step into the car, I just say, hit the gas pedal, and the car will start moving. How the car does it, the interface doesn't care. It just knows I have a gas pedal. If I step into the boat, I can also step on the gas pedal. How the boat deals with the gas pedal, I don't care. I just know it has it. Same with the plane. They all have it, but they all implement it in their own way. It's one interface, and multiple things can implement it how they want it or how they need it.
Okay. So I'm going to try and work with what your analogy is there, because I understand that I'm totally wrong. So I'm trying my best to figure that out. If an interface is simply a template, right? Is that what you're trying to say? It doesn't actually hold or exist. It's just, this is just a list of things that exist. Yeah. Or
should exist. Should exist.
That should exist. There you go. How is it that when in this blueprint says add weapon of this class, does it know that in the character blueprint, it would suddenly activate it and say, this weapon class has been picked?
That's what we were looking for, because I was expecting at least that it does the check, like, does this thing implement the interface before it actually calls the add weapon? But what's it calling? Is weapon already owned? It's just asking if it's already owned. So I don't know. Is it? I was looking for the add weapon.
But the type of class is going to be a pistol or a rifle.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, okay, now I see it. So because we were in the shooter character, right?
We went. This is the shooter character.
Yeah, and the shooter character implements the interface that it can do pickup. So this shooter character can pick up things. It can do that. How it handles it, we don't really care. It just does. Or at least the pickup doesn't care. It doesn't care how the character is going to pick up the weapon. It just asks, or it knows that it implements the interface. It can pick up the weapon. How it does it, the pickup doesn't care. The pickup just says, do you have the BPI pickup interface? All right, then I can give you the weapon. So, but I'm wondering where they.
Yeah, like I'm trying to follow. Like, see where my brain normally goes is you've got these functions, right? If you make a custom event, and that event's called whatever, and then if I want to call that event, I can just type whatever and spell it terribly, and whenever this gets triggered, so that they can exist in two different places. So that's what I'm assuming this is doing. And the value that you put in here, I mean, I think you can even add custom events or custom attributes so that the custom event pulls out those attributes. Here, I think I do it in here. Yeah, so every time I add another one. So it's like the same, in my mind, that's the same thing. We're getting data you put in, and then over here, data will come out. That will be the same as what you put in. And yet somehow magically, there's a add weapon class that exists in BPI weapon holder. There's no connection to interfaces here. So there's no way for this to know about, like, it's the parent. It's not like there's another child blueprint. There's no way to know about this thing, and yet somehow it exists. I can just type add weapon class. Oh, yeah, there it is. Add weapon class and make one. But it doesn't care. But meanwhile, this one on the character blueprint, in order for me to have event add weapon class, I need to have an interface, and I need to have it set up in my class settings in order for me to be able to find add weapon class as an event. Or actually, it's a different one, but I don't know if I could do two of the same ones. That's where my mind is like going, wow, how do you know? And why is the rules? So already my mistake that I've done in my previous project is I tried to add the interface for both of them. And it, I guess I should go over there and jump over there and do a little test. So now we're in my test level where I've got the same sort of setup. I've got a blueprint here that is a pickup. I've got a character blueprint. And when you've got your character, you're like, okay, I'm going to walk over this blueprint, which you can't see, but I'm going to walk over it and it says hello.
Yes.
So my theory or my setup here was the same sort of concept. You have an event from a blueprint interface that's receiving on the character blueprint. And then over here under characters, I have, that's my blueprint interface. This object here is the weapon pickup, which looks exactly like that. So this is a weapon pickup. If I open up the weapon pickup blueprint in the same context, we have weapon blueprint target is, oh my gosh, weapon, we're doing some tests. Weapon blueprint, we have the interface assigned, which apparently was a mistake. And it's called weapon blueprint pickup 2, because this is what this is. Weapon blueprint pickup 2 is a string value. This one doesn't say BPI, but if I use it from here, and it does say the target is BPI. Anyways, the point is, I don't need this. So I'm just going to get rid of this interface. We don't need it. It's apparently pointless. Maybe that's why there was 2 copies. I should still technically be able to find it. So BPI weapon pickup 2. There it is. So it still exists regardless if the interface is attached or not. All right. Now I'm going to put in rifle. That's the weapon name. Hello is just to prove that this component overlap did trigger.
Yeah.
And then over here on the third person blueprint, I'm supposed to receive weapon and say, it's going to say rifle. And then I have a little print to say, at least something comes in case it was an empty node. And we're going to do a test. Oh, we have error in our weapon blueprint. Apparently, it won't let me do this. The blueprint itself is not a BPL, my custom 2C. Therefore, target must have a connection. Right?
Yeah, because you've removed the interface from this one, right?
Yeah, the interface is now gone from the weapon pickup. So this target needs something, apparently. Well, it can't be self, that's for sure.
Yeah, because it no longer has it. But
if we compare this to the other project, the third person project, so now we're back here again.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to the pickup. Oh, it's coming from the out actor. Dang, okay, let's try it. No, or is it?
Yeah.
All right, let's go do another comparison here. That seems too easy. Oops, wrong one. Other actor comes out, goes in as a object reference, currently values as none. Just went straight in there. Add weapon class. Maybe I just have to build it from that node.
Yeah, if you drag out from that node.
Oh, we're walking into new territory for me, anyways. I've never tried this idea yet.
No. Because now it does have the little envelope on the node as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's different now. Seems promising. Oh my gosh, it finally works! Oh my gosh. That's, man, the number of hours I've spent trying to figure this one out. I don't quite even understand it. So the out actor, it just assumes, oh, I guess that kind of makes sense. It doesn't matter what this is, whether it's whatever type of thing overlapped, it's got to be an actor. So whatever actor overlapped this thing, it's just going to be like, hey, if you have this interface over there, this is what I'm doing. And if it just happens to be that this character has this interface going, hey, man, something comes in here that says this, let's do this.
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
Okay, for the heck of it, just try the where you on the other one where you are, the weapon pickup, I guess. Yeah, if you could put in a does object implement interface node. So if you drag out from the other actor, I think you can. There's a node does object implement interface.
Oh.
Because I was assuming you needed this. Apparently, you don't even need to do it. But this way, you could check, like, oh, does it actually have this interface? Yes or no? So we could do a branch here and a print string before you do the weapon pickup. You could just squeeze that in.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Okay.
If you just squeeze in, you just need a little more room, I guess. So out of the, we could just do a branch there.
So if this is true,
then we can safely call it. Then it always works, because in C++ you're gonna have to do that. I think I don't, because it's gonna blow up if you don't.
Right. Yeah. Or you'll get it when you come out of your Pi, you'll get this little error saying access none when trying to do this, such and such.
Yeah.
What this is doing then. So it's saying, does object implement interface? Oh, I still have to say
we still have to select one.
My custom 2. Crazy. So that was great. Nice little tip there on top of that. So I hadn't even considered the fact that we're probably going to get errors and bugs and stuff as we, as you know, whatever random thing walks across this volume.
Yeah.
I feel better. This was a struggle. I was like, for how many years like that blueprint interface has existed? I've always been like, it's this crazy magic thing. I don't really understand. Somehow data gets transferred around, and you don't have to cast. That's the benefit. Is there's no casting going on here. You're just sending data, and if it's got it, you receive it, and that's works great in some contexts. So I've always wanted to use it. I just never really got my head around why or how it works. And it is a bit convoluted in some respect because you got to go to class settings and add interfaces, and that's very unusual. But then it turns out you only have to do it on the receiving end.
Yeah. It's I know when I was in school, which is a long time ago, in C++, they were always going on about inheritance. Like you can just inherit from one thing or from multiple things. You can just like, what was your typical example? I guess again with the cars and the vehicles, you know, you're a vehicle, but you can also, so your car inherits from a vehicle. So it is a vehicle. It can move forward and backwards, but it can also inherit from something with wheels. And all of a sudden, your car can move, but it also has wheels. And maybe it has like a windshield wiper. And you inherit from all of these things, and you get extra functionality because your base classes have extra functionality. And it used to be the thing back then, at least. But by the time I went to my first job interview, I was so happy. I was like, yeah, you can use multiple inheritance. And they were like, no, never, ever use that here.
Oh,
ever.
really?
And apparently interfaces then became the new thing. And the reason why is actually because if you put extra functionality in the base class, it's kind of hidden. You need to know that it's there. So you need to know that your car is a vehicle and has windshield wipers. And if you want to know something about it, you got to go back to your base classes down. But if you say, my car implements the vehicle interface, then basically this functionality is on your vehicle. It's on your car, I mean, if that makes sense. Yes. So if you look at the car, you can see all of the things it has immediately instead of you having to look at things in your base classes.
That's more flexible that way, because now it's not everybody has to use it. It's more like if you want to use it, you can use it.
Yeah, and you implement it just the way you want to do it.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I never even questioned the other system. I'm so used to doing, like I use JavaScript and Python, and we don't really care about classes too much. But yeah, I know that was the whole principle, was that you have inheriting, you know, this character has all the inherited attributes from its parents, which is definitely how some of this stuff works as well. But yeah, this is the workaround, isn't it? This is the best of both worlds solution, is you can switch between the BPI, my custom or my custom 2, and both of them might have different functionality and might be appropriate for one type of class or another, but they're all parented to the same, they're all child of the same parent.
Yeah.
That's good to know. I appreciate that you shared that too.
You're welcome.
This is definitely like foreign territory for real time. Or like getting into like never have I had to worry about interfaces when you're dealing with cinematics and stuff. But I do often delve into it because students usually try to, they're wanting to do something interactive. And it's like, darn it, I'm going to figure it out. Actually, what inspired me to figure this out was because the template, the new template, the shooter template that came out in 5.6, had it all implemented. And I'm like, oh my gosh, see, this is so practical. Could be used in lots of situations. I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so I think I can wrap this up and we'll move to another topic. Is there anything you guys wanted to talk about? Any questions that you had?
I'll just quickly share that I also had my struggles this week, Simon. So you're not
Oh,
alone.
did you? Oh, thank you for sharing your struggles. not the only-
Apparently, Epic broke the Steam integration in 5.6, and they still haven't fixed it. And originally, I was on 5.5. I spent some time updating to 5.7. Was so happy I got it to 5.7. Tried to build this thing, tried to run it with Steam, and it doesn't work for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And then apparently, 5.6 broke it, and they just haven't gotten around to fixing it. So now we're back to 5.5. So yeah,
that is great. Actually, Victor, who was in our class or in our session last week, also had a similar issue where he's trying to do that localization. He's trying to make a localization plugin, and he also ran into a bug with localization that was specific to 5.6, and they had fixed it in 5.7. So he was forced to move to 5.7 to get the functionality. But they're like, candidly run across that without knowing how it's supposed to work. It's just a nightmare. Like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Oh, it's not your fault. It's just the engine can't do it. You're like, what? No. and then what's hilarious is that because I've been down this road before too, where it's just like, it's a bug. Now everything I do that doesn't work, I'm always like, it's a bug. It's probably a bug. I'm sure we just got to try a different, like with interfaces. I was even suggesting, it might just be 5.7 just has a bug. I don't know. I mean, you can't tell. So yeah, affect your brain.
So that's
good though. So you went back to 5.5 rather than 5.7, eh?
Yeah. I guess in the end, because Tom was also like, why did you update? I was like, the beginning, I stripped everything down to the bare minimum to do multiplayer. Really just create session, join session, do a bit of chatting. I was like, this is literally the bare minimum. If I update now, I'll be ahead of the curve and I don't have to deal with updating later.
Yeah.
Guess that was all in vain.
Yeah, you got burned. Tried to be, proactive. And I know that's usually the later in the projects, the more that argument becomes a thing. And it does get very, because you can test it all you want and say, oh, it looks safe. It's not until you run into these random things you're just like, never saw that coming, and then you're screwed. So that is the reality, unfortunately.
And we updated our website.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and we can also find each other in Steam.
Yeah. So the Steam integration works. I made a build. I did improve that build script as well. I think I mentioned that to you.
Oh yeah, the build script.
Improved that as well. We have one built and that seems to work in Steam, so you can send people invites. You can then join. At least if you're in the game, and then you open your invite through the Shift tab. That you have the Steam overlay, you get your invite, and you can join. I don't think it works yet if you're not in the game. I think I have to do extra stuff, like it has to load the game with extra stuff probably.
So
you can join.
That's pretty cool. So when you first talked about it, I just assumed you meant like I have a Steam, I'm integrating it to like be on the Steam marketplace, but you're just talking about working with the Steam interface, like it's like this, so that you can use Steam as so you're playing in Steam and interacting with Steam's playing commands, or I don't even know what that means, but like when we play Steam, we always do that too. We have like it has the big picture mode, and then you go and you play the game, and it has like some communication back to Steam World. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Yes. So it's an interface, by the way, because normally you use it has a network interface, and it just knows I can send, receive packages and do the multiplayer stuff. But Steam has implemented its own version of the interface, and you can just say, I want to use that one. and all of a sudden these things happen through Steam, and basically that's also an interface.
Yeah, and in two different meanings, two different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steam is an interface, and it has an interface.
It's crazy.
Victor, welcome. So you'd be happy to know that we figured it. Well, we all struggled and struggled, but we figured out the actual solution to how interfaces work, or at least we saw it work, so we know what's going on. And
that's better, man.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I was very happy, and I won't do it again in the video because it's boring to watch it twice. But
Right.
The consensus was we were almost there. It was pretty simple to fix, but we had to acknowledge that the interface didn't need to be added twice. It just needed to be connected to the actor, and it worked. So I'll have to show it to you. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I just stole it from the template, really. But at the same time, that was what was like, oh, the aha moment. This is what's the
Right.
bridge between what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Okay, so with our time left, I'm going to try and get into some of the discussions about Metahuman Cloth, just so that we can cover A, what I've discovered this week, and B, where the challenge is, and try to get into.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Can you
What? Sorry, you're sending us something? Oh, I can't hear anybody.
I think her mic's broken or something.
No, I still can't hear anything. I heard you said that you were about to send something and then it cut off, and then that never heard anything after that. So you were working for a minute here. I'm going to see if you DM'd me something. No, I don't see anything.
maybe the condenser micro?
Oh, here we go. Getting a
Oh
little bit
yeah,
hot.
I got it.
Okay, yeah.
I just wanted to ask something about we had some packages, and maybe we can share it with you, and you can review it. What's good about it and what's not.
Yes. So you mean in terms of playing the game and stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
From the Fab store that we tried out, do you think you would be interested in helping us? Like, what should you look for when you're like an indie developer like us? This is a good reference for. This is a good package which you can use in your own game, and which aren't, because I feel like we've hired someone from Fiverr to help us with the coding, and after we got it back, our character, without any assets, it was so smooth. I'm like, hey, that's not fair.
It was a good investment. Is that what you're trying to get at? I was expecting the
Yeah.
opposite.
And
Okay.
I'm like, wow, this really works so well. And I wonder which packages, because we are now at a point that we are trying to how you call it, clean up our scenery so that everything is working, optimizing and everything.
Okay. And so
I just wanted
what-
to showcase some of the package we use. If you can,
to
if
showcase
we
it,
send it to you and you can tell us what you think about it.
to do a trial run on it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
sounds
because
good. It's
And I
funny
can
how
also-
Victor's in this call because he's also trying to do exactly the same thing. So we've got a great group here. Everybody's got the same problems. Victor's trying to do one for localization, and I was doing a little test run for him in just an hour ago or whatever, and discovered some issues. So exactly the same thing that you're asking, but in a different context. But yeah, it's good to get someone else to try it out because it really does highlight specific issues on, my computer didn't have things that were necessary or things like that you wouldn't know.
But you helped us a lot with Mussolini. I deleted his torso, and the lower half I kept his feet because he doesn't have He's barefooted now.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, we were talking about how we were removing body meshes underneath clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent it to Stuart first, but he got shocked.
Because the body mesh looks a little obscene.
Yeah,
I don't know, obscene, but
he
like
opened it on his
fun.
phone and it's like, why are you sending me a male butt from Mussolini?
There's technically no genitals, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I am
definitely
just like, it's protruding everywhere. I don't know how to stop this.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, that's true. For like, yeah, going through the clothing. That is one of the struggles. And interesting that you brought that up because it's like one of the problems with the metahuman thing. And I didn't really know how to solve it, but that could be the solution is to go into so the solution was that I suggested anyways, was
I
to utilize.
bought on Fab Store a shirt and I tried to put it on a metahuman and it did nothing. It just I put it on and it dropped like a stone and I'm like, that's not supposed to happen, right?
No, like what the clothing was dropping like a stone. What was that?
A shirt.
The
A
shirt
male
was
shirt.
dropping like a stone. So it was
Yeah.
a physics shirt. It was actually handling the physics.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's suddenly like, oh, that's I don't know how to fix this. It's because I was trying out a bunch of things because I'm the only 3D artist. Because otherwise, I'll have to make every single one of them, and I'm like, I can't do that. I'll take care of the main characters first, and then we'll see.
So I wouldn't really necessarily recommend a physics-based clothing out of the gate. Usually that's like, use it if you need it, but don't use it if you don't, because it adds a lot of complexity to all your solutions. So if you deleted your body mesh and then had physics on your clothing, it does make sense that it would just fall away like a ghost. So I wouldn't even do physics if you don't need to. Just keep it down to skin geometry to the mesh, just like how Metahuman usually handles their stuff. Because there's a lot of other challenges you're going to run into with, like, even if the character's doing a walk cycle and they change speeds or they're teleporting from one place to the other, the clothing's going to have like all this complications of, removing the kinetic energy that it builds up as you try to go from teleporting.
So 40 or 50K triangles or polygons is okay for a game. But some of our models that we have is 100K, so I must have to look at them and maybe remove some polygons because the character that we had is he doesn't have clothes yet, and he's already 100K. That is too much, right?
It can be too much. If he has a complicated outfit or complicated pieces to them, it's not that. Like sometimes
No,
bosses
really, he looks more like a
well over
gigolo,
100K.
and he's already 100K.
Essentially, if you can reduce the poly count, you should, because it's good for optimizing and knowing that you can do it. Technically, you can put
I have to
nanite
give
on
him a
skeletal meshes,
suit,
but
so it will give
with
me
cost.
more polygons. So is it good to remove his torso again, like I did with Mussolini?
You should remove the body underneath the clothing for the sake of just simplifying your workflow so that you don't have to worry about geometry cutting through mesh. And that's how.
But why do they make the body? Is it just to use it as a blueprint to put over the clothing that you do in ZBrush or something?
So
it aligns perfectly.
If you were to try to do this in Marvelous Designer, let's say, where you can do dynamic clothing, you're going to want that body to be able to body mesh, to drive the clothing simulations, to be able to get the wrinkles and stuff. So you're going to want the full body there. But from a game's perspective, the characters are going to be moving, doing all these things. If it comes down to just simple, like, if your edge flow of your clothing is not aligned to the edge flow of your geometry, it doesn't matter how well you skin it, your geometry will still cut through, just because that's how it has to happen. So there are certain situations, if your clothing and your body are too close together, you will never be able to stop it from cutting through itself. So it's much easier, much simpler just to remove all the body geo like they did in the Metahuman before 5.6. And then you don't have to think about it, worry about it. It saves you memory, saves you all this other issues, but mostly it saves you from having to worry about skin cutting through meshes unexpectedly. And,
Oh,
and
okay.
now with the new character mesh developer, it's like a whole different system, a whole different workflow that you get the full body mesh. So I'm like, they don't cut it out for you, but the solution that I was suggesting that we work together with to solve was you can use the skeletal mesh editor to remove geometry, and that seemed to be a pretty decent workflow under those circumstances. So if I was prepared, I'd have an example that we could just jump right into, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go find a skeletal mesh or something here. I mean, we could do the body one, but the problem with the body one is I can't really see what it. So in the editing tools, which is something that came out in like 5.5, there is under the model the option to the polycut. Now I can't remember which the tool was called. No, I don't think that was it.
I think it's in Mash, Simon.
Oh, is it? Okay. That sounds like a very logical thought. Or is it deform? Vertex sculpt, warp, displace, smooth. Where is this tool? Why do I not have it here? I'm gonna go back to our screenshots. Polycut. It is polycut. Sorry, my bad. Go back to polycut. All right. Oh yeah, so circle. This is what we wanted. So you got a bunch of different shapes. When you take a look at it, it doesn't make any sense. Notice how the mesh totally disappeared. So this circle mesh is trying to cut something on a horizontal axis here. And if we can get ourselves into a right spot, you'll start to understand how exactly this works. Now, of course, this is like such a tricky example all of a sudden. Let's see if I can get somewhere. Oops, I went too far. Oh yeah, and we're cutting it right way too far away, but technically it's creating like a slice into the world in that circle space. And so if I change the size of the circle, or if we change it to a cube, nope, that's not it. A square, or maybe we had a round rectangle, which was kind of pretty cool. And you can change the height and the length through these methods. So if I just grab a little chunk of it, you can see it's trying to cut right where that object is, and it's slicing through the mesh. So if you can rotate this and position it in a way that is cutting the mesh in a way that helps you get rid of the body mesh, what's nice about it is that when I say apply to asset, it actually will cut the geometry but not lose the skinning or the mesh. So your skeleton and your binding and your skinning are still going to be maintained. You're just going to have the geometry spirit. So this might be the intention of how they remove, how you're supposed to remove the, this is horrible. You're supposed to remove the body parts from the new skeletal mesh editor or the character mesh editor generator from the Metahuman workflow. So it'll always give you the body, and then your job is to cut out what you don't need. It's a little bit of a pain, but I guess it does give you the freedom to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That was a complicated answer, but I jumped right into the middle of where I was going to talk about the Metahuman workflow, but at least we had something that we got to discuss there, which this is an interesting tool that is much harder to try to do this in Maya. In here, it's nice that you can just slice it and it doesn't break anything, and you can just keep working afterwards.
Oh, that's good. I can use that for one of the characters.
It's horrible though. Like, wow, why did I pick the face?
It's for a horror game.
Yeah, it suddenly became a horror game, just unexpectedly. So one of the other problems that's happening since 5.6 is they used to give you all like the elements of the clothing as individual skeletal meshes, and they would just be aligned to a specific standardization of character sizes. And that made it fairly standard and basic. You could just change the clothing, add different pieces and elements to them. And the material editor for these meshes allow for a lot of flexibility, so you can change the look of them. But with the new method and the new workflow, that's why I'm seeing all these things. I'm going to skeletal mesh editor on. It's much more manual, and it gives you a lot more control. But the key element is that any character can be deformed in an infinite number of ways. So now our clothing won't match because there's no longer standard body sizes. There's an infinite number of body sizes. So you have to go through this whole process of like creating procedural shaped clothing that will deform and manipulate to a specific size of a body. And then what is the standard that you model it to? Well, there's different body types. There's the female body type and the male body type. And then those ones get put into this system that automatically deforms and modifies it. So there's a lot of like not well documented workflows that are like kind of secret to the whole process. And I'm slowly uncovering layer by layer of what that workflow feels like and is expected. But one big insight, and this is mainly where I was trying to go here with this whole thing, is if you just download one of the examples from on the fab, which is there's only a certain number of clothing options available that are compatible with the 5.6 version of Metahuman. It's a really good insight in terms of the pipeline and the workflow that they intended. So here I am trying to figure out how I'm going to find clothing. As this is me and Fab are not, we don't get along really well. All right, here we go. So it has to be compatible with Metahuman. So I'm missing still a particular formatting option. Oh, here it is. Show Metahuman compatibility only. So of all the clothing that's available for free that supports the new Metahuman 5.6 is here, which is like, there's not much here. And some of them are being added, like, if you look at the dates of these, I don't think they're very old. I don't even know if some of them are just being added recently. But anyway, there's not much. But if you turn on the price tag for it, or you allow for the cost to show up, all of a sudden you realize there's tons of clothing out there available. I'm pretty sure I have it set for, show Metahuman compatibility. I don't think I've got, usually it's a little more organized. But anyway, there's lots of clothing out there, but they all come with costs. So there's a workflow and a pipeline that people have built that can create clothing, that have created clothing that fits the new Metahuman workflow since 5.6, and they have built a giant amount of library of stuff that you can buy from. But there's very little of it that's free out there, and that's, I think, an interesting opportunity, perspective. I don't know. It's the part that I'm trying to figure out, because I know that everybody who ever adds a Metahuman wants to figure out how to put clothing on it, and right now it's quite a complicated process. It takes a long time to explain it. And even then, it's like, you forget it because there's like 13,000 steps to get to the finished product. So this is what I want to talk about in these streams eventually and try to break it down a little more. But I'm still trying to get my head around the full pipeline. However, this particular version of it was added in right when 5.6 came out in June. And it was made by Epic. And it's got sort of, I would say, the formatting and the structure that you can probably work towards if you were trying to build clothing for the Metahuman. Whether you're going to put it on Fab or not, it doesn't really matter. But some of the challenges are, I have a static mesh of clothing. How do I get my static mesh of clothing to adapt to this dynamic body shaping system? And where do I start? And those are like, there's, especially if you're trying to make it like compatible with multiple characters, there is a difference between the female body and the male body, and you have to be able to use the features. So inside of Fab, this is where it got imported. We have our outfit asset. We have our wardrobe asset. Inside of here, we have our cloth asset. We have two cloth assets, one for the male, one for the female. So they call it shape G and shape H. And then each of those come with LODs. So we have For the body, female body, we have 4 LODs for the female and 4 shoes. For the female body, we have 4 bodies and 4 shoes. And these are the 2 skeletal meshes that they're building the body meshes to. One is for the shape G and one for the shape H. So there's a lot to it, just for like, I want to put a pair of clothes on. Well, if you want to do it properly for marketplace, you need 8 meshes and 2 body types, and then you need to create a cloth assets, and you need to make sure the cloth assets are properly transferring the skinning over, and then you have an outfit asset that properly transfers, combines those 2 female-male bodies together so that it knows to determine one or the other. And then the wardrobe asset is the one that you actually drag into your Metahuman creator. And the Metahuman creator is then, adapting it to fit your body shape. And then you have to export out of the Metahuman creator to be able to create what essentially you just brought in from the bridge software before 5.6, which is simply like this. So you still have to like output and export from the Metahuman creator to be able to have this baked in. So it's a thing. It's a huge amount of work. I don't know. Figure out how to get it to fit in the course content. It's like,
sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it's like you can't just sort of easily explain it. So I think that's why it really highlights that Fab Store is quite valuable for people, because nobody's going to easily figure out this pipeline, but they're going to be able to download assets easily and just drag these wardrobe assets into their character, and the wardrobe asset adapts to whatever shape the character has. So, whoever it is that's selling these clothing assets for $40 a piece or whatever, are probably making money, because people are probably like, I can't figure this out. I'm just going to pay $40. It's kind of an interesting opportunity, but yeah, there's a lot to it. And then plus you have to know how to make clothing, which is, that on its own is a whole skill set. So it's like a lot. But I was glad I was able to talk about it. I know that's overwhelming for people, but that was that's the area that I'm discovering and building more knowledge to week by week.
Well, I'm going back to what's it called, specialization course, because I don't know how to make hair, and I don't know how to make clothes, because so far all my characters I made are either bald, and
Right.
I mean, a penguin doesn't have clothes, and a turtle doesn't have clothes either. So yeah, I'm out of luck when it comes to that.
Yeah, well, clothing requires a whole skill set. Grooms require a whole skill set. There's a lot going on there, and it's very niche, because there's not, people need it, but they only need it in that specific category. So those are great skills to learn and understand. But yeah, you have to appreciate how hard it is to accomplish them well, and really fully understand the difference between what works and what doesn't work. But yeah, those are in terms of our course pathway, those are a little too niche for us. We have some mentors we have one mentor who knows how to use Marvelous Designer really well. And
Who is that?
well, I'd have to go find her again. She's actually more part of the visualization department, but she doesn't know the Unreal side of it that well. So it's like she can create the clothing, but then it's all about how do you bring those clothing across. And that's the pipeline literally this whole pipeline I talked about with Metahuman came out in June. And there's very little talk of discussion. Like, I don't know whether in 5.8 they're going to like revamp this so it's a lot easier. I thought maybe that might happen in 5.7, but it didn't. So there's like a lot of interesting.
I'll send you a link. Is this any good? Real Illusion.
Part of Character Creator.
Can I interrupt here? I
Yeah,
use
yeah.
Character Creator, and it has a learning curve, but it's good. It's just expensive, really expensive. So
Yeah, that's probably because it connects the dots, right? Like it solves, customization might be challenging, but it gets you results.
although for hair, you're still gonna use hair cards and stuff like that. So you need to either sculpt the hair or do hair cards. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. But for
don't-
clothing, it's a real good solution.
Okay.
Even with the grooms from Metahumans, they do like a groom is a procedural hair, but then if you back out to the next LOD, it swaps to hair cards. because grooms are very expensive and also very unpredictable. When you get into rendering and things, it starts to create a lot of issues and stuff because it's trying to procedurally do its dynamics between subframes and that sort of thing. So it can be a lot of work. So hair cards are a little more reliable, and obviously you get some pretty good results here.
How did they do that in the old ways before all of this?
This is hair cards was always sort of a workflow that we used. It's just we didn't have as much to we couldn't afford as much, and hair cards requires transparency, and that usually causes a lot of headaches for game engines. So there's a whole stack of different problems they've been working through. But like the resolution required is a big memory impact. So often it would be you'd have hair and it would be through hair cards, and if you were really good at it, you could make it feel like it's pretty natural. But if you want it to sway in the wind or do all these ponytail stuff, that was a whole nother challenge to make it look believable. And when they added the ability to do grooms on metahumans or just grooms in general, that was a huge milestone to see that working in real time.
Is this more for movies, or can you also use it in games?
Oh, I'm assuming this is for games. If it's all hair cards, yeah.
How do you know it's a hair card?
Well, I mean, they keep showing you what the ID maps are looking like, and like, I don't know, they do look a little bit like hair cards, to be honest, as opposed to like individual strands.
Oh, okay.
But like, this is good for what you need.
Yeah.
If it was for film, you would just do a proper groom, and it would be a different type of workflow. And it's possible they have grooms in here as well. I don't know.
I asked my previous mentor that, who is working in the with Alien Covenant, Matteo Sala, and he told me I never have to do the hair because we have someone specialized for that. And
There
I
it
was
is.
like, that's just not fair.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we had someone here who did hair, it would just be like, you'd have to have a full course pathway just for doing hair. And it's like, that's such a huge amount of commitment for course content, that's changing, adapting.
I
It's such
didn't
a
know
difficult
that
thing to
it was
teach.
so complicated. And even in the movies, they have a dedicated artist for teeth. I'm like, really? Teeth?
For eat?
Teeth?
Oh, for
Yeah,
teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, especially, in film. And if you're trying to replicate like a real actor or something, you got to really get in there and get it accurate.
Yeah, because an alien doesn't exist. So you have.
Oh, it's for alien. Yeah, yeah. Well, there you go. And that's even better. That means you really do need the artists to come in there and strut their stuff.
Yeah, I liked his Alien Covenant thing that he made. He made the alien that burst out of the human.
Who's this, by the way?
Matteo
mentor?
Sala.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm not sure what footage that is. I don't even know. Interesting.
Never seen Alien Covenant?
I know. I'm not sure. Isn't there a bunch of aliens movies where they like she's giving
It's
birth?
the newer one.
I'm not on top of alien movies, so it's not that shocking that I don't know. It's you can send it to me offline. I got to wrap up the meeting. We're about 10 minutes over here. But I was able to get 2 major things accomplished today, thanks to everybody here. So
Okay.
that we were
Thanks,
able to
Victor.
be part of this. Next week we'll come back. Maybe we'll find something new to talk about that maybe I'll be able to convince someone to join us and have a Q&A in a particular department. Does anybody have any suggestions? Feel free to DM me.
I'll send you the package that we have, and maybe you can take a look at it.
Yes, feel free to do that. I'm always happy to test stuff out. Yeah, no problem there for sure. Okay, sounds good. I'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Am I up here?